Ever felt stuck trying to troubleshoot your computer or network? What if I told you that mastering just a few simple commands could turn you into the go-to IT problem solver? In this video, I'll reveal the essential Windows commands that every IT support technician uses daily. Commands that can save you hours of frustration and even help you land your next certification. Ready to unlock the power of the command prompt and take control of your tech skills? Let's dive in. In this new course, we're going to talk about the main commands that are used on Windows. So since now you have a virtual machine running on Windows, well, you can test all the commands that we are going to see. You can also test them directly on your PC. Before starting, you'll have to open the command prompt. In the search bar, usually located at the bottom left, type CMD and launch the command prompt. It is this tool that will allow you to execute the commands that we are going to see in this course. And we start with the ipconfig command, which allows you to know its IP address, the subnet mask, and the default gateway of all its network cards. The IP address is what identifies the equipment on the network. The subnet mask allows you to know the extent of the network. That is, to know what is the range of IP addresses belonging to the same network. And the default gateway is usually a piece of equipment that allows you to connect several networks to each other, such as a router. There are several variations of this command, and we'll see which one is most commonly used. The ipconfig/all command displays the complete configuration of all network adapters. The ipconfig/renew command will renew the DHCP configuration on all of its network adapters. The little brother of the renew option is the ipconfig/release command. This command frees the IP configuration from the device. So, if I do an ipconfig again, immediately after the /release option, well, I end up with an APIPA address, which is an address assigned automatically if the PC can't reach a DHCP server. So, my virtual machine is a bit in trouble because with this type of address, well, it's like this. I wasn't part of any network. To reassign an address to it, I just need to give it an ipconfig/renew. As you can see, I was able to get the same address as before. Let's move on to the ipconfig/flushdns command, which allows you to purge the DNS cache of your Windows. The DNS, domain name system, is what makes it possible to make the relationship between IP addresses and domain names. For example, behind the site google.com is an IP address, and it's easier to remember google.com than to have to memorize a series of numbers. So when would you need to purge your DNS cache? Well, let's say that a website internal or external to your company changes its web server. Well, its IP address will change automatically. The problem is that your Windows will still keep the old IP address in its DNS cache. Well, the /flushdns option allows you to purge the cache so that you can update it. And the /displaydns option allows you to display the IP address mapping table with the system's domain names. So, if you do an ipconfig/displaydns right after an ipconfig/flushdns, well, you won't have anything to display because the table has been emptied by the flushdns option. Now, if you go to any website from your PC, and that immediately after you run the ipconfig/displaydns command, well, you should have some matches displayed. Let's move on to a completely different command, which you probably know, which is the ping command. Ping is a bit like ping pong. It's an IP packet, which will go back and forth several times to see if the communication between the two ends is smooth. For the example, I pinged the default gateway, my VM virtual machine. You can see that 4 packets were sent and that the 4 came back to my VM. The ping is therefore successful. Now let's move on to the Troubleshooting command, which allows you to follow the route that a packet will take from point A to point B. Each time the IP packet encounters a router, a line will be displayed. For the example, I did a tracer to the IP address of google.com. Each line corresponds to a router hop. And if you see a line with small stars, well, it's because the equipment doesn't allow you to give your name. Now let's talk about the netstat command, which, as its name suggests, is a mix of the word network and the word statistics. That is to say, this command allows you to deliver statistics on the network's activities. Basically, it allows you to list all the TCP and UDP ports that are open. This command is very useful to see the services that would not need to be launched in order to prevent malicious people from exploiting them, for example. Now let's look at the enslookup command, which is mainly used to find the IP address or domain name of a specific host. So, what we call a host in computing is all the computers that would be connected to the network. Here, for the example, I made a request to know the IP address of our dear friend Google. Well, if in a browser, instead of entering the URL google.fr, I put the IP, the result will be identical. That is, I would access the website. The domain name is just a format, which we humans understand better. Let's move on to the shutdown command, which, as its name suggests, allows you to shut down or restart a PC. This command is useful if you want to create a shortcut on your Windows desktop, for example, or create an automated script. This command cannot be used on its own. We will have to add an option depending on what we want to do. By the way, for each command that exists on Windows, if you add the /?, well, you will have the complete list of all the possible variants of the order, the different options. We will therefore detail the different syntaxes that revolve around the shutdown command. The /l option closes the Windows session. The /r allows you to restart the PC. /s, it will shut down the computer after 60 seconds because it's the default setting. The /tl+, the number of seconds option allows you to shut down the computer after a certain amount of time, which you will have defined for it. For example, the command shutdown /t180 will schedule the PC to shut down in 3 minutes. And the shutdown /t0 command will shut down the PC immediately without waiting for the default 60 seconds. The /c option allows you to add a small message, which will be recorded in the event log when it is turned off. The message will also be displayed in the pop-up that informs of the imminent shutdown of the PC. And you can also combine several options with each other. For example, if you run the command shutdown /ss/t120/c+, the message, you only have 120 seconds left. Then the PC will shut down after 2 minutes, and the pop-up will display the message that was put on it. This message will also be plotted in the event log. Command shortcuts. Before we wrap up this first part on commands, I'll show you how to create a shortcut on your desktop that will automatically launch a command without having to open a command prompt window. So that's what we really call a shortcut. On your Windows desktop, right-click, and in the New tab, click on Shortcut. Next, you need to enter the full command, which you would have typed into the command prompt. For the example, I run a program shutdown at 2 minutes with a small warning message. Then, when you press Next, you need to enter a name for your shortcut. Here, I'm going to call it 2min switch off. Afterwards, as soon as you click on Finish, well, the shortcut will be created directly on your desktop. And every time you click on this shortcut, the PC will shut down by itself after 2 minutes. So, to prevent your machine from shutting down, If you are testing on your own PC, you just have to run the shutdown command again, but with the /A option. This will cancel the scheduled shutdown. By the way, I remember that it was a little joke that we like to make in computer support to our own colleagues. That is to say, we connected remotely to the workstation, and we threw a shutdown of the PC at it with a very short time. And so, well, he had to quickly save his work, or try to disable the command with the /A option,